What is up, everybody? JM Sports Show coming at you. Second time here on the YouTubes. Lots to cover today. Starting with the story I just saw going on Twitter to announce our show, and that is Robert Griffin III, RG3, has signed with the Baltimore Ravens as the backup quarterback. This broke a couple of hours ago, and it's very interesting to see RG3, who sat out last year after couple of injury-plagued seasons with the Redskins and the Browns, is now heading back to the AFC North. Will be signing with the Baltimore Ravens, where he'll be behind Joe Flacco, who himself has been injury-prone as well. So RG3, congratulations on the new job. Welcome to the Baltimore Ravens franchise. Very exciting to be seeing that as he signs a deal. Let's see what the numbers are for the deal. I doubt it's going to be that big, considering RG3 is a injury-prone quarterback, and it's going to be a backup. We no exact numbers yet. But RG3 has indeed signed a deal with the Baltimore Ravens after sitting out last year due to injury. So it should be very interesting to see how this affects the quarterback market. I look at the Ravens, and I still think they could draft a quarterback. In my opinion, this draft class is very good. But it also might mean that now they're building for winning right now. They have Flacco in place, but Flacco is an injury prone, so they have RG3 as a backup. Perhaps you draft a quarterback later. I kind of like a Lamar Jackson to them. Get somebody who you can develop and who would be in that second or third place on the depth chart, and wouldn't mind that. Obviously, we're probably going to see the Browns draft a quarterback if they're smart. Alex Sam Darnold out of USC. We could see a potential deal with Josh Rosen, potentially to New York. I think Josh Rosen is the second best quarterback in this draft class. I'll put Baker Mayfield as the highest risk, highest reward quarterback. The risk being he is undersized and has some problems with his personality, off-field stuff. The reward being he could potentially be a superstar quarterback and would certainly draw fans. But I think, and I know a lot of people hate to hear this, the Johnny Manziel comparison is very appropriate for a quarterback like Baker Mayfield, not only with his size and the way he plays, but also with the off-field stuff we saw and some of the on-field stuff we saw with the whole controversy with Kansas with Handshake Gate. It should be interesting to see what happens with the rest of the NFL. Free agency has certainly slowed down, and now we look to the draft and noting where certain people are going to go in the draft. Quarterback-heavy draft that I like. Saquon Barkley, the consensus number one in terms of athleticism, but I'm just not a big fan of drafting running backs in the first round. It's worked out in a couple of cases. Ezekiel Elliott, because the Cowboys had a top-of-the-line offensive line, and the And, certain guys that are great. Saquon Barkley isn't going to be a great running back, but running backs are a dime a dozen in this draft. And I just don't see many running backs winning Super Bowls. You look at the best running back of this past decade, Adrian Peterson, did not win a Super Bowl. Best running back of the 2000s, LaDainian Tomlinson, did not win a Super Bowl. Best running back of the 1990s, Barry Sanders, did not win a Super Bowl. Walter Payton won one, but that was mainly due to the great Bears defense of 85. This is a quarterback league now. You look at the last 5 Super Bowl winners. Eagles. Regular season had Carson Wentz, who was an MVP candidate up until he got injured. And then Nick Foles played and won the MVP for those 2 incredible playoff games in the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 51, Tom Brady, Patriots, greatest quarterback of all time. Year before that, certainly was won by the Broncos defense, but they had an experienced veteran quarterback, future Hall of Famer, and Peyton Manning. Super Bowl before that, Seattle, or Patriots again, Tom Brady. Super Bowl before that, Seattle, Russell Wilson, who is still developing, but is now one of the best quarterbacks and developed very quickly into one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So quarterbacks win you Super Bowls, so you want to draft a great quarterback and build your team around that. And certain teams have done very well in developing quarterbacks. Just look at the Eagles, look at the Seahawks, and look at the Patriots with quarterbacks they've dealt with, Jimmy G, as well as Brady, obviously, and then the quarterback they traded to the Colts, whose name is slipping me right now, in Jacoby Brissett. So it should be very interesting to see what happens in the draft in terms of what teams are going to do in order to better themselves coming into the next season. Free agency is basically done, obviously, and quarterbacks were the hot item there. You look at Minnesota getting Sam Bradford. You look at where the Vikings quarterbacks from last year went with Bradford going to Arizona, Denver getting Case Keenum, and Teddy Bridgewater landing in New York with the Jets. So quarterbacks are the most important position, and they are being signed and are looking to be the top ticket in the draft, and it makes sense. Baseball, we'll cover that really quickly. How about Shohei Ohtani hitting his first major league home run last night as the Angels rolled over the Cleveland Indians 13-2. My Padres got their first win with Christian Villanueva belting 3 dingers in yesterday's game. Bryce Harper's looking great. He's tied for the league lead in home runs as we tomorrow will mark 1 week into the season with 4 with Charlie Blackmon of the Colorado Rockies. Chris Sales looked dominant in his first 2 starts. We'll certainly look at what a lot of teams have been able to do early on, but it's still very early to break down to exactly break down what's going to happen. I do want to discuss something I saw today. The Yankees fans booing Giancarlo Stanton, who struck out 5 times. And that's just what you can get with Stanton and Judge. You're going to get tons and tons of home runs. You're also going to get tons of strikeouts. You see that with Mike Trout. You see that with guys like Bryce Harper. That's just kind of the game now. It's really come down to some of the best players are 2 outcome players, home runs or strikeouts. When they're hitting home runs, their teams are doing well with striking out. not so much. So I think it should be very interesting. Congratulations to Villanova. They won the men's basketball championship on Monday night, handling Michigan, winning that game big. Certainly not what I really wanted. I was rooting for the Wolverines, but what a lot of people expected did happen. And Villanova gives the city of Philadelphia their second parade in as many months with their win against Michigan to win the national title, and propels Jay Wright into talks for the best coaches in the NCAA basketball landscape, where he joins guys like Bill Self, like maybe not quite up at Krzyzewski or Roy Williams level, but getting close. And Jay Wright is certainly still young and still looking to cement Villanova as potentially a dynasty of this decade, much like we saw Florida in the 2000s with Billy Donovan, and much as we saw with Coach K over these last few decades, and with Wayne Duke and Roy Williams in North Carolina, and Calhoun and UConn, and and all the good coaches we've seen, Boeheim up in Syracuse, who have been certainly very, very successful in creating good programs. I think the off season's gonna be a long one for NCAA basketball fans with the FBI scandal. I think they kind of gave it a little break during the NCAA tournament, and that was good. We got to focus on some of the awesome things that happened in the tournament, with UMBC becoming the first 16 to beat a 1, with Loyola Chicago's run, with some of the buzzer beaters we saw, and all the fun the March Madness is. But now, I think as we go into NCAA basketball's offseason, we're going to see certainly a lot of more big names to fall. We've already seen Rick Pitino. There's still some controversy over Sean Miller in Arizona. We're not sure exactly what his future is going to be like in Tucson. And we have more coaches that potentially could be exposed for corruption with this FBI scandal. So it will be a long college basketball offseason in terms of that until the season begins next November. Let's just really quickly get some NBA talk. In NBA, let's look as we get closer and closer to the playoffs. The playoff seedings can basically be decided tonight, at least who's going to be in and out. If Milwaukee will be the biggest Philadelphia 76ers fans tonight outside of Philadelphia, because if Philadelphia wins their 12th straight game and defeats the Detroit Pistons, the Milwaukee Bucks will clinch a playoff spot, clinch that final spot in the Eastern Conference. And the Greek Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo and company will get a playoff appearance. And the Bucks, to me, maybe not this year, but certainly in the years to come, are an exciting young team to watch, with guys like Giannis and with Thon Maker and Jabari Parker and company. They could certainly turn into a team to watch over the next few years. And then we'll obviously have to see how the rest of the seedings play out and where exactly teams will be as the playoffs begin in a couple of weeks for the NBA. Currently, the NBA standings in the East look like this, with the Raptors as the 1 seed, 2 games up on the Celtics, with now 5 games to play. So the 1 seed looking more and more like it's going to be Toronto, but Boston's still alive for that 1 seed as well. Cleveland is just a half game up on the 76ers for the 3 seed, and but have extended their lead to 2 games over the Pacers. So my guess is 3 or 4. It might either be the 76ers or the Cavs. Pacers still in the hunt for 3, but right now looking very much likely to be that 5 seed, maybe the 4 seed as well, as they're only a game and a half out of the 4 seed with the 76ers, who have now won 11 straight. They are the hottest team in the NBA. Cavs themselves have won 4 games and are 9-1 in their last 10. And the Cavaliers play the Cavaliers, I believe, play tonight. Oh, no, they play tomorrow against Washington. They actually beat Toronto last night, 112-106. And they actually played the 76ers on Friday, April 6th at 7 p.m. So they have a back-to-back, a tough back-to-back, playing Washington and the 76ers. They then finish off their season with a home-away series against the lowly New York Knicks. Those games will be Monday in New York and Wednesday in Cleveland to end their season. Philadelphia, they were winners last night for their 11th straight win, as I said. They beat the lowly, terrible Brooklyn Nets 121-95. They played Detroit, who will obviously be playing for their season tonight. If they lose, their season is over. They then again have the Cavs on Friday. So the Mavericks, I'm looking at the 76ers, and I'm looking at their games, and I think realistically a goal for these final 5 games would be 4-1 or 4. For these final 5 games, I would say 4-1, 3-2 at worst, because you're playing the Pistons, who currently would not be a playoff team, but will be playing for a playoff spot. And it's on the heels of a back-to-back. You have the Cavs, who are a great team, and will be playing for seedings. But I think you should be able to beat the Mavericks and Hawks. And the last game against, there's this 3-way tie, 6, 7, 8 with the Heat, Wizards, Bucks in that order. So depending on the final record is, with the Heat clinching the playoffs last night, it could be, any one of those teams in that order. Currently, though, if the playoffs are going to start today, the Heat would be the 6th seed, the Wizards would be the 7th seed, and the Bucks would be the 8th seed. And they could clinch, again, the playoffs tonight with a win, or with if the 76ers were to beat the Pistons tonight. Taking a look at the West, obviously Houston is on cruise control for the rest of the regular season. They have the number 1 seed locked up. Golden State is a safe bet, and I believe has clinched the 2 seed. So your 3 seed is the Trailblazers. They have a 3-game lead on the Jazz. How about the Spurs? Well, for the first time in 18 years, will fail to reach the 50-win plateau, but they are right now tied with the Jazz in record, and would be the 5 seed on the tiebreaker, with the Jazz getting the better 4 seed. So those 2 would play in the first round. You have the Thunder, who lost to the banged-up Golden State Warriors last night, is the 6th seed. The Timberwolves are the 7. The Pelicans are the 8. But that is all within 1 game of the 9-seeded Nuggets, and within 2 seeds of the Clippers. So the Clippers and Nuggets, the West is a lot more interesting in terms of who will get that last seed, because in the East, it's just one team that's alive that isn't currently in the playoff picture, with the with the Detroit Pistons, who could be eliminated as soon as tonight. The Clippers, Nuggets, Pelicans will all be competing for that last 8 seed. Currently, if it were to start today, the Pelicans would have it with a half-game lead on the Nuggets. The Nuggets play the Timberwolves tomorrow. They actually have a game against the Clippers on Saturday. The Trailblazers on Monday, and they finish off the season next Wednesday in Minnesota against the Timberwolves. So playoff picture looking clearer and clearer as we go on in the NBA. We had a lot of fun on the show, though, man. Lots of fun. We talked NFL. We talked the RGIII deal to Baltimore. We talked a little bit about the MLB, and congratulations to Shohei Ohtani. He gets his first MLB dinger as the Angels crush the Indians. So we discussed that. We kind of discussed a little quick thoughts on baseball. And then we finished off with a nice long discussion on the NBA seedings, as it's the best time of year for that as we close in on the playoffs. Just a few more games left in the regular season, a few games left to decide the exact playoff seedings for the 2018 run to the Larry O'Brien Trophy. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Subscribe to me on here on the YouTube channel. Also, follow me on Twitter at jmoney18c, as well as on SoundCloud at the JM Show. Hope you guys all enjoyed JM Sports Show number 2 from YouTube, number 15 overall. And I hope you guys have a pleasant rest of your day and week and enjoy your weekend, as I certainly will here on the JM Sports Show. Thank you so much.